Hello, my name is Keith, and I'm known as the Florida Stone Man, and today I'm going to make a video talking to you all about who's allowed to approach you and why. Why certain people approach you. Why certain people don't approach you. This video is specifically for people of God, people who do right, people who stand in the light, and people who don't do wrong, because if you ever pay attention to really dark people or people with bad habits, they're always attracting people who have bad habits or dark things around them, because everything goes hand in hand. I'm going to say this: as above, so below. So if you're a person of God, which this video is mainly for people of God, because people of God will be put in a very specific category. You will attract other people of God, and if people of God are not around you, if they're around you but they're not people of God, or they're people who practice shady stuff, like people who work with demons and whatnot, they're going to be kept away from you. Now, I'm going to go in depth about this in this video, but some of you wonder why certain people don't approach you. You have to understand, your eyes are going to lie to you. This physical world is not what appears. What you see is not actually what appears. You ever see a sign in like a rear view mirror, for example, where it says objects that appear in the rear view appear larger or whatever? Well, the same thing applies. So sometimes people will appear a very different way in front of you or behind you or wherever they are to you, but appearances will lie. They'll flat out lie. And sometimes your feelings, what you feel is, I'm gonna flat out say this because this has just gotten out of hand online, but people are like, every feeling matters. I'm like, well, if you feel like there's a spaghetti monster after you, that feeling really doesn't matter. So I'm going to talk more about that in detail in a different video, but when it comes to your feelings, if you have a feeling that someone's a good person just based off their appearance, your feeling's wrong. What if that person was actually someone who did this to someone before you just met them, and maybe you're bedazzled by their energy, like their energy is very glamorous to you. How do most demons approach people? They approach most people by flat out disguising themselves, because if they approach people in their real forms, no one would find them to be something they want to talk to. So that's usually why you'll be out in public and you'll see someone, for example, you might just be friendly to them. You just might be a friendly person. Sometimes you want to say hi, and you're being friendly and you say hi, but this person's not really reacting the way that other people react when you say hi to them. It's just like, what's going on? I'm going to just give you the answer to that one. That's God sending his angels to block that person, because he sees something, he knows something you don't. You just don't know it. Maybe it's not in your intuition, because what that person is going, if you were to know exactly what that person is, and this is why your guides will not tell you things in public sometimes, because if you're having a beautiful day and you come across a person, your guides are just like keeping them away. And they're not fully telling you sometimes about the people that are around you, because you're having a good day and that's not your energy to even interpret. They don't want you being in on that. They don't want that energy being around you. So they're not going to tell you, oh, that person. And for example, this actually happens to some people when I'm out in public. My angels will quickly run someone off. I'm like, what was their story? And they're like, it's not important. And then later on, I'm like, why'd you run that person off so fast? And then they're like, well, that person abuses animals at home. They have a whole bunch of animals that they just flat out abuse at home. That's just an example. People do much worse things. Some people, for example, some relationships, and when you see in public, it's just like you'll see a girl and a guy or whoever, and the angels kind of like are protecting from people and certain things from, because God will send the angels to, for example, like if the guy wants to do business and the guy does some really shady stuff, and like, for example, he wants to get his wife jewelry or something like that, and the angels are sounding an alarm on him, like, hey, there's something wrong. You don't really know it, but that dude is really just causing domestic violence, for example, because you don't know, and the angels will not always let you know, because you're not to interpret that energy. Sometimes that energy doesn't even belong to you for you to interpret. it would just ruin your day. It would be something you think about it's contrary to your goals. It's just like, this energy doesn't belong in your mind. So with that said, and you can't imagine how dark some people are. You might see someone like this, but when you turn around, that person will do something with you. You don't know people, because people will do black magic. People are sick. We live in a day and age where people will pull out their phones and do some crazy stuff. People will slide phones under certain places. You see this in the stores. So if you ever wonder why is this person? Some people will record you. Some people will try to exploit you. So unfortunately, we live in a world of light and dark. There's a lot of light out there. So when your angels are running someone off who looks completely unsuspecting, it's like, because you'll see it sometimes, especially when wearing crystals such as tourmaline, your angels will take the energy of the tourmaline and just rid them off. If you're wondering why you don't have this level of protection, number one, make sure you're asking God. Number two, make sure you're using a crystal such as black tourmaline from FloridaStoneman.com. My tourmaline is guaranteed. It's holy tourmaline. It's blessed tourmaline. You get tourmaline from someone who you don't know or don't know where the tourmaline came from, it does something a little different. It's because that energy's on it. Now, attachment, yes. So, for example, if you're using tourmaline, when you're using tourmaline as a necklace from FloridaStoneman.com, and you see some reactions, like you see people who are normally supposed to talk to you, just like this. The light in the background is confirmation. Yeah, confirmation. People will just look at this. It's because literally the light in the background, your angels are blinding them. You're blinding them with your light, because your light is of God. It's not a fake light. So the enemies will have enemies. I said enemies. The enemies will have false lights, these fake lights that are attractive. So you might be attracted to someone romantically, as a friend, etc. Because everything's attraction or repulsion. So you're attracting something to you, or you're pushing it away from you. It's no in between. If you've attracted a friend into your life, you've attracted it because you're magnetic to that frequency. So if you find something attractive that's of darkness, it will be pushed away. And when I say attractive, I'm not talking about sexually attractive or like, ooh, that's attractive. It's no. You see someone's energy and you're pulled towards them, or you're pushed away from them. Sometimes when you're pulled towards a person's energy, it's just like, sometimes that's bait. You ever see the anglerfish? I believe it's called an anglerfish, with like the light in front of it, and it looks like a cool little light, and fish will fly up to it in the water. I'm like, oh cool, look at the light, look how beautiful it is. Light's good, right? And behind it is this really scary fish. And this is the best example ever. I have to use this example again. People are anglerfish. People are anglerfish. And the most scary, monstrous, abyssal looking demon fish will just eat whatever fish because it thought it was a light. That's how it works with, that's the best example ever. Because these people will look like a light, but these people will have a demon behind them, and the demon, or the person will be the demon, and they're flashing a fake light. So it happens all the time. So for example, that's why I don't suggest a lot of for people who are attracting new people into their life on a friendship level, love level, abundance level. I'll give you some examples when it comes to abundance. So if you see some quick abundance and it looks really attractive, and let's just say a job opportunity looks very attractive to you. So when I say looks attractive, you're magnetized to it, but there's a scam behind it, or you give some kind of information and now they have you, which happens all the time. It's on the news very often, which I don't watch the news, and I don't recommend you guys watch the news either, but for specific reasons. I'll talk about that in a different video. And your angels ran you off from it, and you're upset and you're frustrated and you're sad, and you're like, why did this happen? Why is this happening? It's like, this is such a good opportunity, and people will, God doesn't want me having this, and people will blame God when God is protecting you from something. And it's like, are you serious? You don't trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not into thine own understanding, because God sees things. He sees. Look behind you right now. I bet, and now look in front of you. You can't do both at the same time unless you have a mirror, but you're not gonna walk around with a mirror. But even then, you can't look to the sides of you. I mean, God sees everything at all times. So when you ask him for protection and direction, he's protecting you from things you can't even see, such as scams. So that's why when you're led to certain people, your guides will check in. If you're not a good person, they'll let whatever happen. That's usually why people get, for example, that's where karma comes in. Sometimes it's not about what your guides are doing to you as karma. It's about what they let happen to you, because you have to go before the Lord. Let's use another example. And now I'm going to scare some of you. So, and this is tragic, and this is why I tell you guys to stay off dating apps like Tinder, for example. So, there's stories about this all the time, and this is not the popular... Ooh, bird flying over. This is not the popular topic, but this will scare people. So, people are false lights on apps because the phone has energy of mirror dimensions, and people can be whoever. So, especially in the US and rural places, it doesn't matter if you, because there's stories of people talking to people for 3 months. They go on continuous dates. They're not even doing anything. They're just going on continuous dates. And person goes over to a person's house for food because they cook food or whatever. Food's laced with something. Now, that person was actually being some kind of operation for organ farm, because organs are worth a lot of money, especially in specific places. Now, you have to, it scares people, but that's a false light. That is flat out a false light. So when it comes to false lights, and yeah, really loud car just started itself next to me, but when it comes to false lights, same thing happens. So that's why I suggest for you guys to move closer to God. That's why I suggest for you guys I'm gonna put up the window. That's why I suggest for you guys to always do everything by God. Check in with God. Make sure everything is through the Lord. Because if you're trying to do things yourself, you're gonna be screwed. If you're trying to do anything yourself, you're just a human. God is infinite. We do nothing ourselves. We don't even do anything without our guides. So that's why, and this applies to more than just why certain people approach you. It's why certain opportunities approach you. And like I said, people can be very unsuspecting. Maybe you're just to be friends with someone, right? And you're just being friends. That's it. And it's just a light friendship. But if that person has enough concentrated dark energy to evil eye anything you talk about, you're weeks behind, months behind, years behind in your blessings, simply because you let one person who had enough negative energy in disguise to evil eye your opportunities. Yeah, like what? And then people ask, oh, why didn't God protect me from that? Sometimes you go past God's protection. So, in essence, look to see who's not saying hi to you when you say hi to them. If you say hi to someone and they just look at you like this, or like you're some kind of stranger, you are strange to them, because in a world full of demons, you have angels around you. And that will be very, very different to people. So, and that's why it's like, for people who crave light and crave goodness, they'll always attract something good to them, or someone good to them, whether they know it or not, because God will make sure you're on the right track. So make sure you're asking God for protections, expecting protections. I would ask, and this is specifically my advice to you, pray when you wake up, and don't check your phone, and pray before you go to bed, and when you go into the spirit realm. God will back you through your day and through your night's sleep. So fully establish connections with the Lord. Establish your connections with your angels after, and you can do both at the same time, but prior to, God comes first. Then, because angels won't even they won't even talk to you if you're avoiding God. They'll just be like, talk to God. So that's actual angels, by the way, not demons. Demons will just tell you, you are your own God, right? Heaven and hell is just vibration. It's not an actual place. I beg to differ. But when it comes to you attracting certain people in your life, that's why certain people just disappear out of your life. It's because with the law of vibration, this is very important to talk about too. You'll be on a certain wavelength. You'll be rising above. You're making so much change, and so much good things is coming your way. And someone over here, instead of going like this with you, they drop down here, so you no longer communicate with them. It's like that person just rudely cut you off. They stop. They just like maybe hang up the phone on you. They just walk away from you. You're right here, and they're down here. If you wanted to keep being friends with that person, or if that's a family member, you'd have to drop down here to be able to be near them. You'd have to be able to drop down here to stay near. So don't take it personal. Don't take it personal. Just make a song about it, make a ring about it, like. So whenever you see someone like in public just make a nasty, dirty look at you or just avoid you, especially when you wear crystals, people will be sick to their stomach when they feel your angels around you. They'll just be like, it's because whatever they had to say. And you better believe people are full of surprises. God sees these people before they get to surprise you. You ever had someone just surprise you and be like, well, why did that happen? What did my angels not protect me from that? Well, did you pray for it? And when you prayed, did you expect? So when you see people acting very strange around you, just thank God. Be like, okay, there's something I could not have known that God just protected me from. Thank you, Lord. It could have been the most unsuspecting person. The anglerfish. Make sure you Google that. It's the fish with the light and the teeth. Use that as an example. Print a picture out and just remind yourself of what... I mean, that's the perfect example. If you have any questions, ask them in the comment section. To get crystal jewelry that protects you from people like that and to increase your protections, because the Lord will defend you. But you have to make sure you're doing more than just praying. Make sure you're wearing crystals and you're actually taking protocol and using certain herbs that God has put here. He has put his essences on planet Earth to be able to protect ourselves. So let's just say you're asking God for protection and you're not seeing any protection. Are you wearing any crystals that he put on the planet? Okay, good question. Now, you can get your crystals from FloridaStoneman.com. If you have any questions, ask them in the comment section. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Ciao!